been placed into usage by the Soviet army, the late Soviet army, which obviously now is longer extent. So now I come to, I finished at last about the accuracy. Great Scott! Whew. As regards the period. Also you may argue, yes, but it is not British like, and you know, because the cloth especially. Well, I'm sure they had the same or extremely similar cloth in Britain. They might even have imported that cloth from Russia for all I know. Please, if you have any ideas, let me know. And the style especially, there were many undershirts as basic as these for in fact the vast majority of people, which again, even in Britain, which had the lowest working class, still had a huge number. 80% of the people belonged to the working class. And then 10% to the middle class, and 5% to the upper middle, and 5% to the upper class. So basically, they would have actually, even someone like Dr. Watson, like a sort of typical upper middle class, not a high upper middle class fellow with a pension, you might likely have won something like that, or barely superior in terms of fit, or you know, overall luxury standards. And you might argue, but usually they have the knitted cuffs, so not necessarily, especially with farmers and workers, because knitted cuffs make it harder to pull over, and often when it's working in factories, or if a rural worker, they will actually, you know, getting warm and all, and perhaps they want to make sure the sleeves do not get caught into the machinery or whatever it is they are doing, they would pull them up. So especially with working classes, they often have not had knitted cuffs, especially for summer one like that, because obviously it makes it more summery, more cool to wear, the air passes more throughout. And then again, a lot of people, even until later on, until the early 20th century, mid-20th century, would make the undergarments at home, the wife or the girlfriend or the hired prostitute, whatever, would make the garments at home, and thus they would make them out of very basic patterns they had in magazines and all. Like these, you know, like very square cut. That one is more complex. That one is better because it has a yoke. And obviously, when undershirts usually, even on that period a lot of the times, but especially today and since about the 50s or even 40s, they are of somewhat knitted or elasticated, because from the 40s onwards, polyester and things like that, fabric. And thus, even if no yoke, often a yoke is present, like with that sort of knitted cotton one, modern ones that still have a yoke, like a 2-ply. Well, you might think this is a tiny yoke. What does it do? Well, it helps to keep the undershirt pulled down, especially one does not want it running up, since it is often worn below an actual shirt. Well, especially if that is the reason for which all shirts, actual shirt, not undershirt, you know, made out of shirting fabric, so not elasticated or knitted, like this, always have a yoke. Usually, in the past, they often, not only high quality shirts, have actually a split yoke, because it helps even more to keep the shirt down, because obviously the shirt, being a broadcloth fabric, in other words, non-elasticated, it would otherwise ran up even more than it already does, especially when it's not meant to measure and to the exact measurements. To the point that, obviously with elasticated things, it is a bit overkill to have a yoke, especially if a full yoke like that. And as you may see on that elasticated undershirt, there's no yoke at all, not even the small round one like upon the grey undershirt. And it hardly rides up. I took it as a bit extra large, but still it would barely ride up. Now with that one, the fabric is very light and a broadcloth fabric. The best recipe for riding up. So what they did, which is very good, is they actually have a yoke exactly like on that antique shirt from the 1910s. And this is especially rare on an undershirt, even if undershirts from the 19th century, and that it is a split yoke. It is kind of a fake split yoke in that there's 2 layers. Inside is one layer that is not split. But then on top, they still have 2 layers, so it is split on top. So theoretically, it is not hold it down as much as if it was only generally 2 layers, but still it does should do a good job. But it's so large and square cut, but still, see when it's worn. I shall wear it presently to demonstrate. I already tried it on before, and one may easily see it, even like so, it rises up to an exceeding degree in the back and budges up and has that generally parachute effect. See, I buttoned the buttons there. See, already the bit gapped open and oversized. I purposefully bought it a bit oversized because especially forcing that have very large, very broad shoulders for my frame, broader than the average chap. So that the buttonholes are a bit, shabbily done, to have too narrow, to have too tightly stitched. Thus it takes ages to button. But see, even with that yoke, it really has that tendency of bunging up like a parachute in the back. I think I have to highlight. I have no more battery or no more storage space. But see, it actually not that much. I remember it bugging up more, but it still does. See, it buggers off. So honestly, without that yoke, and also without that, see what here it also sort of the placket extends to here, which is also helpful into a sort of mini collar, or V-neck collar, but barely V-neck. It's not very much of a V-neck, which is good. That's for it offers more protection from your body to the shirt, one on top, and then vice versa. But this is super period accurate, honestly. Again, not upper class because it's so large fitting, so basic and cut. And even like so, it is almost too small, and as soon as I grab, even like it ends up right at where my shoulder ends. So every time I lift up my arm, it almost feels too small. Thank heaven I took it as that size. But any bigger, it would have almost posed the opposite problem. It would have fallen so much, and then it would have felt, that feeling whereby it feels too small. Although it is actually too large, because every time one extends the arms, it blocks here. At least it does not, or barely does there. Also, the only manner to attain an impeccable fit would be at least that measure. But there it is even more basic than that, because it is military stuff made by non-professional solids. But see, it does budge up, see, compared to the red one. So also it will feel sort of uncomfortable to a certain degree below shell. But it's kind of alright because the fabric is so light. This is very light and yet strong, not very light like the knitted ones, or not even very light like this dress shirt. I also washed it many times. I bought it and starched it a few times, so it became thin up. But this does not feel strong. This feels very tough. It is also brand new. It was never worn. As in, I tried it out, but I never actually wore it. I never washed it. See how strong that is? Which also, and not being non-knitted, I feel shall bring in about even more cool air. Especially since it is so large. And during summer it shall bring so much cooler air, which I shall badly need with the starched shirt on top and the waistcoat and coat. And yet, being broadcloth, it shall keep a lot of the sweat basically trapped on the inside of the undershirt and on the outside, hopefully, and thus it shall not come as much onto the shirt, whilst yet not being warm at all. Because obviously, if warm, it would be counterproductive. It might block more sweat, but then one would perspire more, since one would be suffocating even more. Now, I tried on the thumb one. Actually, I can pull it over. See, I don't need to unbutton it, which is great. That one I need to. That one I actually wore, and then once, or twice, and then I washed it once at the low temperature, so it is still greasy because I did not want to damage it before making the video. So I washed it like at 20 degrees, which is nothing. That one is much warmer. I think I should